Preston, that's Lemmy or God?
Lemmy.
God. Wrong, dickhead. Trick question. Lemmy is God.
You switched the samples.
How you doing, dude?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Welcome back to the East Coast. So how was the trip?
It was a good trip. I had a great trip. It was good. It was a good or great. It was somewhere in between good and great. I haven't quite figured it out. So when I left, you were like, this is your California trip. This is your trip to LA. This is going to recharge your batteries. I got out there. I did my talk at NAMM, which was awesome. I loved the NAMM show, the National Association of Musical Merchandisers.
How many people are you talking to in this show?
There were 100 people just kind of standing in front of me, and then there was everybody walking by.
Okay.
And then I got to spend the whole day just walking around playing guitars and new technology and all that stuff. So cool. So that's in Anaheim. But then I go and I spend a few days in LA. So I got the rental car, which took an hour. Fuck you, Avis. I don't know why this company can't get their act together. Oh, this company pisses me off so bad. So I finally left a bad review. And I'm like, I hate going to Avis at LAX. Make me stand there for an hour. Old man. So I get an email from Avis today. They're like, please give us another chance. And that's it. I'm like, that's it? You're just asking me, please just give us another chance? How about a coupon? How about you grease these wheels a little bit, Avis?
Little do they know, Avis might be your only option after you're blacklisted from every other car rental place in the country.
That is almost true. Are you kidding, or do you know that story?
I do know this story, yes.
Well, I can't reveal any more there. The rental car government is looking for me, so I got to stay on the down low there. But anyway, I end up getting a car there, and I drive it all the way to downtown LA. So I'm in the financial district. It's not a big area for celebrities or anything like that. It's just a cool little area that had good restaurants. I said, I'll give it a try. I didn't know the homeless was really as bad as it was there. Oh, man. I mean, it's way worse than I remember. It is big, giant tents that, maybe are meant for like families of 8. And they're all strung together, and there's big blue tarps on top of all of them, and they're almost like row homes of tents. And this isn't even a joke. I'm driving, and people are jumping out into the street. Like, man, I wasn't expecting to play Frogger. I mean, it's really kind of dangerous for everybody out there.
Holy shit.
So I quickly figured out the better way to get up to where I was trying to go. But yeah, the homelessness there. It's national news. Everybody's talking about it everywhere, but it's totally different when you see it.
Sure. I believe that.
But that was the only sad stuff. The rest of it was just fun driving around. It's crazy to just make a left turn and you see an actress in her car up on, Mulholland Drive or something like that. It thrills me. I don't know. I'm walking the line to like being a stalker.
Sure.
Where is that line? I drove by a celebrity's house in Laurel Canyon, and I saw this celebrity's Amazon packages there, right there. I could have grabbed her Amazon packages.
That would have crossed the line, Bill.
That would have been
that would have been the line.
This time you have gone too far.
Like, why is she not picking up her Amazon packages? Would it be weird if I knocked on the door and said, you left these out here, ma'am?
I mean, on some level, even having that thought, you're getting dangerously close to that line, Bill.
That guy's not a criminal mastermind.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you. I need your guidance sometimes to, pull me back.
Reel it in, pal. Reel it in. So did you see any celebs?
Yeah, I did. The one I said I passed on the road, I think, was Michelle Pfeiffer.
Meow.
Which was kind of cool. Because those roads, man, all the way from Santa Monica to the Hollywood Hills, those roads are so damn small, and you get real close to each other. And, I'm not going to say where I saw her to protect. I don't like that. Like, I was exactly here, so you should go there and see if you see her too. But
for people that have stepped over that line.
Yeah, I'm not going to be an enabler. But when you get that close, you just kind of get a flash of somebody, and you're like, whoa. And I recognized her because she had makeup on. She looked good. Usually everybody's just a ball cap and glasses, and you don't really know. You're not really paying attention to. So they're everywhere. They're friggin' everywhere.
Gotcha.
So did I see any? She's the only one I really recognized. I saw a couple at the NAMM show, but I wasn't looking.
Actors or music people?
Music people. Like the guitarist of White Snake. Like real deep celebrities.
Yeah.
Like deep in the ground, buried, like barely breathing celebrities. Sorry, Adrian Vanderberg. I know you were a fan. Now we lost another one.
Oh, you did it again.
But I'll tell you, I did one thing that I, instead of going around and doing all of those stops to all those places I was telling you I was going to do, I was going to go see this site, and you just end up bumping into these sites. You know, it's like,
Okay.
I created just one path from the Hollywood Hills all the way down Santa Monica Boulevard, and you see Beverly Hills, you see, you know, the area where the hair metal scene, you know, happened in West Hollywood. But this is where I made my mistake. This is where I fucked up. So I'm going to get some food. I call, you know, Scotty Schwartz. You know, he's the guy who plays in The Toy, and he was on
Christmas Story. Yeah.
Yeah.
He got his talk to the Pope. Yeah.
Yeah. So I go, I'm coming in. Where should I eat? He goes, you got to eat the Rainbow. And I go, the Rainbow Bar and Grill, the famous Rainbow Bar and Grill. It's where like all of hair metal started.
Right.
It's right there on the Sunset Strip. Motley Crue, everybody who's ever been in a rock band has sat in there, done some shady shit in there, whatever. Bad stuff has happened there. And you know, I like trouble. So I was like, fuck yeah, let's go there. Lemmy from Motorhead used to hang out there.
Yeah.
So he died, but he used to you'd walk in and there he would be just playing video poker. So I go in and I get the chicken parm. They give you this like giant plate of chicken parm full of amazing food. I'm just devouring this thing. And the waitress comes, she's like, you want another drink? I'm like, all right, I'll have two. No problem. I'm doing fine. But the spirit took over. It was like the spirit of like, you know, me being young and going to a heavy metal concert. I'm looking on the wall. There's girls, you know, neon, and Warren's Cherry Pie is playing and Motley Crue's on the wall. And I just hear this voice going, you can do it. You still got it.
That's the devil on your shoulder.
You could have just one more. Just one more. Come on, Billy.
And then she says, want another? I said, do you insist? She says, yeah. I'm like, oh, no. Well, if you insist, then wait a minute. I don't think you should have said that.
Hey, give me another beer, bitch.
My demon's like,
Yeah, Billy. She likes you, Billy.
Oh, no.
All you got to do is drink a water in between every drink, Billy.
oh, that went right out the window. Forgot
That
to
old
do that.
Biff. Yeah.
Come on, Billy. You don't got anywhere to be tomorrow.
All that does is you're drunk and now you have to piss really bad, too.
But I ended up hanging out at the Rainbow for way longer. They were probably like, what's this loser doing? He's got nowhere to go. What a sad schmuck.
God.
Just hanging out,
Gross.
wishing he were one of the rock stars. Like, I looked like the saddest guy there. You want another water, sir? Yeah.
They probably see guys like that 10 times a day, Bill.
Oof.
You happen to look around and see the other people sitting around you at the other booths?
I saw a lot of heavy metal dudes come in with mullets and leave, and I was like, yep, those are my people.
There you go.
Just drink, Bill. They have Gatorade now, Bill.
How about some liquid IV? That'll get your electrolytes back.
You can get 20% off with the keyword too much CGI.
Oh, shit.
But I had a nice time. It wasn't the craziest time, but it was nice and easy. I got some photography done. I got everything done except I was going to do some writing. But most of what I tried to do, I got done. And I binged a show.
Oh, what are you watching?
Have you seen the show Shrinking?
This is on Apple TV with Harrison Ford, and I want to say the guy from The Office?
You're close. It's not the guy from The Office. It's the guy from, well, you should know. You like the Muppets. The Muppet movie. Remember that guy? The new Muppet movie? The guy who's associated with that?
Yeah, it's he was also on Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and I can't think of his name right now.
Play along, kids.
I can see his face. He was on Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah, Jason Segel.
Said Statham. I knew that wasn't right, but that could you imagine? That'd be a whole different movie.
I love that show with Jason Statham and what's the other guy? I can't remember anybody else on that dirty show.
I remember Guilfoyle from Silicon Valley was on there, and
Seth Rogen,
Claire Danes.
No, now you're mixing up.
My so-called life. You're right.
Damn it!
Fuck.
Getting old is hard.
This is getting cut. So tell me about this show. Like, I don't have Apple TV, so I never seen it except for, I think they advertised it during some football games a while back. I don't think it's brand new, but did you binge the whole thing?
Whole thing. So the producer of it is somebody named Bill Lawrence. Bill Lawrence, I think, was associated with Scrubs.
Okay. I like Scrubs when it was on.
I thought Scrubs was hysterical. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
So this show wasn't slapstick, but it was funny. Scrubs was actually funny. This show is actually funny. So this guy can actually make good shows. And I think he made something else with Courtney Cox. Maybe he made Cougar Town or something.
I never watched that.
Yeah. I don't know much about this guy. His wife, somehow I know this. His wife is Krista Allen, who was on Drew Carey's show.
She was the one that was like Drew Carey's best friend.
Right. And what else was she on? She was on Scrubs for a while, too. Anyway, she's in it. She's funny. Jason Statham is in it. He's really funny. Jason Statham has a daughter. She is great in it. So there's really a cast of people that are very unique, very different from each other. So it's one of those mismatch type of shows. It's like, how will they get along? They're all so different. But what I like about it is there's a lot more shows now that are more tribal. They're not so much like the old fashioned, everything is a normal nuclear family.
Yeah.
Now a lot of these shows are families like my family. My family is very odd. There's people that aren't blood that I consider family. And this is one of those kind of shows where people sort of tribe up. So it's fun to watch these people who are going through some really hard times. While it's hysterical watching them go through this shit, at the end, it's one of those feel good type of shows.
Right. That was how Scrubs always kind of made me feel too. There was always like those shows on Scrubs where on a very special Scrubs. I wasn't like that, but it reminded me of on a very special Silver Spoons.
You're going to love Friday Night's Lineup on a very special Mr. Belvedere.
That's right.
Wesley gets too close to the stove and burns his fingers. So the breakout star on this by far, is Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford is on this show.
Breakout star. Yeah, I know. Is he the psychiatrist or who? Because it's called Shrinking because somebody's in therapy, right?
Well, a couple people are psychs, but he owns the practice and he hired 2 people. And Jason Statham is one of them.
Jason Segel. Okay.
But it is, by the end of the show, you fall in love with Harrison Ford. Like he finds a way to make it work, but it is totally the impression you and I do. So the entire fucking show that I watched on the plane to LA, I got through every episode but like the last 2 and I watched them coming back. But every episode, he starts to warm up a bit. He starts to grow on you. But at the very beginning, it's like, well, you shithead, right? It's, oh, well, there he is, grumpy. Woof. So he woofs for some reason. You're like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to understand anything this guy says. But my favorite thing about Harrison Ford I learned on this show, you had to see him old for it to finally go, oh my God, he has done this forever. How he'll be like, oh, it's a really cold day out there. What? It's a really cold day. He just jumps. He goes from A to Z like that. I can't find my glasses. I can't. They switched the samples.
You switch the samples.
Oh, man.
How was that? That was a Oscar-worthy impression. But so he really acts up. Sometimes he curses. He says like some kind of gross things. He's naughty. It's very weird. It is so weird to see Indiana Jones doing these jokes, but it's great. He's the breakout star. At the end of it, you're gonna love him.
So this answered the question: what you finally settled on that was not going to be pornographic or gory that other children on the plane might see over your shoulder and you might offend?
Oh yeah, there was does Jason Statham have to be naked in everything he does? I know I'm still using the Jason Statham for Jason Segel joke, but
you're throwing me off because now I'm not picturing Jason Statham. I'm picturing Jason Statham. Jason Segel does got his wang out.
He does, man. He's got his ass out in this too. I'm like, how many times do I have to see Segel ass? I mean, there's a limit to certain things.
Yeah. Always with the Segel ass and the ball throw, man.
But I got to tell you, it was such a good show, and they say they're making a sequel, so we will see.
How many episodes?
I think it was like 100. I mean, it felt like I was watching it forever, but I was just invested. So I don't really know, but there was probably about 10.
Okay.
What are you watching?
Holy shit, man. While you were away, I went down some rabbit holes. Usually you're the one going off on fucking tangents and watching weird stuff. Well, that was me these past 2 weeks. I started watching a show on Hulu called Super Hot, the spicy world of pepper people. Have you ever even heard of this show?
No, is that one of those like hot wing shows?
It's not Hot Wings. This is a 10-part series, documentary maybe, I don't know. I think this was only made for Hulu. But these 10 episodes, each about an hour long, follow these famous pepper growers and also these pepper eaters that go to these spicy pepper competitions. So they're not eating wings, they're just straight up chomping on the hottest peppers on earth. And weaving throughout this fucking story is the search for the world's hottest pepper. So there's this character, and I say character, I mean it. Johnny Scoville, he calls himself. Johnny Scoville is a pepper eater, and he is on this quest. He has all these people seem to have YouTube channels where it's like, hey, tune in every day and basically watch me hurt myself by eating something fucking stupid, and then watch me react and cry and throw up and all kinds of shit. So there's this huge following of this subculture of hot pepper eaters, and they're all on YouTube. Now, I didn't watch any of these people on YouTube, but this Super Hot show showed a lot of like their clips from their videos and things. And he's going around and trying to sample all these different growers' peppers, and he collects them all. And at the end of the show, the last 2 episodes, I think he actually takes them to a laboratory where they test the Scoville levels. And the reveal is you get to see which of these growers, who they also introduce throughout the show, which of them has the hottest pepper. And people get fucking crazy with this. Apparently there's big money in it. If you grow, because the thing with hot peppers, and I don't think I'm not sure if you know this or not, all these hot peppers like the Carolina Reaper and, you know, the scorpion pepper and all these different peppers that keep coming out with all these different names, they're all just crossbreeds of other peppers. So if you grow peppers and you keep them in the same area, sometimes they'll naturally cross-pollinate. Sometimes they're actually going in there and like intentionally cross-pollinating these things and growing them in hydroponics and getting crazy with it. But if you can create a signature proprietary blend and then keep the seeds and harvest the seeds and sell the seeds, you can make crazy money with this proprietary pepper. And some of these people are just like fucking insanely paranoid that somebody's going to get their secrets or get their special plant, or I don't even know, but it's fucking wild. So you have these growers who are like real paranoid about people getting their secrets. And then you have these other people that are just like eating as many fucking hot peppers as they can until they're literally throwing up at these competitions. I'll pause here for questions.
Yeah, I'm trying to think how I even start. My head's going right to, who are these people that like to just be tortured like this? And has anybody ever done a study like maybe there's a correlation between these guys that like to burn the fuck out of themselves and like the same people that like to put themselves in like bondage like gear, you know, or somebody's pulling their arms and hitting them with whips. I mean, what the fuck? There's a point where there's no thrill when you're just getting destroyed because your mouth is on fire. That's not fun.
Well, I know you say guys, and a lot of these people are guys, but the undisputed chili queen is this woman from Great Britain. I believe her name's pronounced Shaheen. She is closing in on 100 Ring of Fire pepper chili tournaments or chili pepper tournaments, and hasn't lost one she's been in yet. She eats so many fucking peppers that her body, from like the capsaicin in the pepper, her body thinks it's under attack. And like her fucking, like, they call it the Naga claw. Like her hands will like fucking like cramp up to the point where like she can't use her hands to eat any more peppers. She has to have somebody come in and feed her the peppers so she can keep fucking going.
God. So she looks like what happened to those kids at the end of Stranger Things when they're all
Kinda.
You still shove the pepper into her mouth. Don't stop.
But to answer your other question, I mean, there's no correlation that I've seen between their sexual proclivities and for bondage or whatnot. But there was a lot of these people, I'd say a pretty significant amount of these individuals were recovering addicts. A lot of them talked about like recovering cocaine, opiate use, alcohol problems. So there was a lot of correlation between their past life and addiction and now their desire to eat these hot peppers and their drive to do this.
Well, don't I look like a dick now laughing?
Nope.
A little. I watched these 10 episodes over the course of maybe 3 days. I enjoyed it. At no point did it make me want to. We talked about this on the show before, how, I have some ability to eat things that most feel are too hot. Like I've done the one chip challenge. I can eat hot sauces. I'm not afraid to do anything like that. But at no point watching this show did it make me want to just pick up the hottest pepper on earth and just bite it off the stem.
I know it does something. It trips something in your brain, somehow gives you some pleasure. I don't know. I don't get it.
What it did do, though, it made me want to mess around in the kitchen with some peppers and make my own hot sauce. I did a little bit of this last year, but I kind of want to get back into that once peppers come back into season here in Pennsylvania.
Then you come up with your own strain, the Scott strain.
I'm not growing the peppers. I'm not growing peppers myself, but I'll go out to the farmer's market and buy different ones. And
your peppers start consuming people. It's like The Last of Us Part 2, and now it's all the hot pepper take.
More like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, I was thinking.
Have you ever seen that all the way through?
It's been a long time. I remember the cartoon that they came out with. Remember that?
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Barely. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Attack of the Killer Tomatoes all the way through. I don't think anybody has.
It's in very much the same vein of like Killer Clowns.
Yeah, but one is watchable.
Fact. Okay. I'll give you that. So I keep mentioning these tournaments and how these tournaments work. Basically, everybody sits down. There's usually like a panel of like, I don't know. I didn't see any more than like 10 people on a single panel, but they all sit down. They all start off with like 2 peppers, always the same type of pepper. And the rules are you have to eat the entire pepper. You can't drink any milk. And if you throw up, you're out. And like round 1 goes down. So you hold up your pepper, you take a bite, you hold up the stem, or you throw the stem down. Chew, chew, chew. Everybody goes. Some people pass, some people don't. On to the next round. Now they're bringing out 2 different peppers, maybe 3 different peppers. And they'll keep going through these rounds until they're down to 2 people. And when they're down to the final 2 people, it's like a speed round where they'll give them like a plate of 10 and they can just eat them, and whoever eats them the fastest wins. So like, it's not just like you're eating like one super hot pepper. I think after the one, this Shaheen girl, did she eat 46 peppers? 46 fucking super hot peppers.
Did anyone see her grab like a candle and drink down the wax like Homer Simpson did?
Like Homer? Yeah, it's funny. They actually referenced that episode in the show. It was pretty good. And this whole thing, this like documentary episode thing was put out by Vox, VOX, the news organization. So it was a pretty well done documentary. And at the end of it, after you watch all 10 episodes, they tell you which of these guys' peppers is the hottest. So like the winning pepper had like 1.7 million Scovilles, which just beat out the other guy by like maybe 400, maybe 4,000 Scoville units. But then it says, since this aired or since this was produced, Pepper X has been discovered, which was 2.6 million Scoville. So you sit there and you think, well, I just wasted 10 hours of my life to realize that it all means nothing because the hottest pepper is not even featured on this show.
I'm still thinking about how somebody could eat all those peppers. It's like a superpower.
Oh my God. This Johnny Scoville, who's pretty much the main character, he shows himself. He's like, I'm going in the bathroom. I got to get this out of me this way because if it comes out you the other way, it's a hell of a lot worse of a thing. So he'll go in after a competition. I guess after the competition, you can make yourself throw up, but like if you throw up on stage during the competition and you just spew, you're done. What happens afterwards is up to you. But like these people are just like laying on the ground with their shirts off, like just hurting. Like I think like through empathy for them, like I was watching the show, I was like, I think I have heartburn. Like I want to eat Tums right now, like just from watching this. So again, at no point did I want to eat any of these things, but I might get back into the pepper game.
What if like the X-Men were real and they were trying to figure out who was going to be on the team, and they're surveying all the people on the planet with special powers, and they come across this person who could eat all the peppers. the X-Men are always finding people that have special powers. They never talk about the person who could just eat a lot of peppers.
That's true. It's true.
What other powers do you think are not represented on the X-Men team?
Remember the one guy we talked about on the worst superheroes where he could never use his superpower? He was like Atomic Man, because if he used his power once, he would die. So he was on there. We were always like, well, how'd they know he had a power? He could never use it. He could never show it. He had an X-Men uniform and everything. His gift was bullshitting people.
What if your gift was like being able to say the alphabet in one breath? I'm going to come in, but I mean, we never hear about these powers. They couldn't all be special in the Marvel universe. All the mutants.
Closest thing we ever got was Dave Letterman's Stupid Human Tricks.
I like those.
That was a fantastic segment. And nobody does anything like it anymore, except TikTok. I think that's what Stupid Human Tricks became.
I'm telling you, everything that our generation grew up on, we all taught our kids, and now it's happening again on TikTok.
I guess.
They like to watch watermelons get thrown off a roof. They did that on David Letterman. So it's the same thing. Coming back.
Everything's derivative, man. So this wasn't the only thing I got into this past week. I also, and this is crazy, I don't even know how I stumbled across this guy, Dr. Mix on YouTube. He's huge into synthesizers and like soundboard mixers, and he's a music producer by trade. And this guy's channel, he will take some of the biggest hits from the 1980s and do his damnedest to recreate these synthesizer beats, note for note, tone for tone, exactly the way it was done on the original recording. And it's crazy to watch. The one that I watched first, and I think I sent this to you, it's him and his soundboard guy trying to recreate Eurythmics' Sweet Dreams.
Great song. One of the best synthesizer songs ever made. No question. It's great.
It's amazing. After a 47-minute episode, I can't tell you how many times I fucking heard the Eurythmics' Sweet Dreams, note for note. But it was so fascinating. And like, in watching this, I don't think I ever understood what a synthesizer was or what a synthesizer did, because I always just thought in my kid mind growing up, which led to my adult mind now, it was just a type of keyboard, which it kind of is, but I didn't realize that you could like program the waves to make it so it was like a note and then a fifth higher or an octave higher. And you can like set all these switches to like basically double or, you know, raise the music up a fifth or a third or play a chord just by playing a single note. I never understood what a synthesizer was for or how it musically helped out in fattening the sound that a simple keyboard wouldn't do.
A lot of what's in a synthesizer, especially the earlier ones, are the same things that were in computers to make video game sounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same technology.
Yeah.
Sine waves and triangle waves and
sawtooth wave, box waves. It was all kinds of stuff.
And that's only the start of it. And then you can, there's more algorithms thrown in and you can tweak more sounds and get crazy, crazy sounds. And so the synthesizer was just taking all of that technology, giving you a keyboard to play it. That's why the influence of it was so big. Like even Van Halen couldn't resist. He had to get into it too, because everybody was like, there's never been anything that could make these kind of sounds before. And it totally changed the style of music for pop in the 80s.
And the music keyboard was almost treated more like a computer keyboard, to your point, like a button, like a key on a keyboard. Yeah, it was a musical note, but it was also just a button to trigger a sound that the computer was programmed to make.
Nowadays, they have tools that allow you to make your own synthesizer. You can get synthesizers that are software. Right in front of me, you can't see it from the webcam that we're using to see each other across the world or across the town.
Across the 15 miles.
But I have a little tiny MIDI controller and I just play that.
Yeah.
Make symphonies out of it. You know, that's how they're doing it now.
Yeah. And for recreating a lot of these classic 80s songs, Dr. Mix, he has a vast collection of different synthesizers like in his studio. And some of them he's actually recreating with the original authentic type of synthesizer. Other ones he's using synthesizer emulators on his computer or that he runs through the mixing board, and like it's incredible, but they really do pull back crazy sounds like in Sweet Dreams particular. I think one point there's like a sound in the background that you never even would have really heard. And the original sound producer said the Eurythmics created that sound by filling milk bottles, like glass milk bottles, at different levels and just tapping on them. So now this guy is trying to, like Dr. Mix is trying to recreate the sound by filling up whatever bottles he can find in the recycle bin to get the same sound. And he gets pretty damn close. I'm sure that these shows are made for people that understand synthesizers or understand soundboard mixing. I know you said you didn't watch Dr. Mix, but you watched a lot of shows like this just because you like sound engineering and stuff like that. The fascinating thing for me, like only doing sound engineering to the point of like editing this show, the way he was able to put it together and brighten the sound here and deaden the sound here. And it was just crazy what he could do with a recorded sound that came through a synthesizer and truly, sound for sound remake an original song. Other songs I watched him do, he did Michael Jackson's Thriller with the original synth player, and he kind of showed him some stuff he got right and some stuff he could have done easier. And he also did Michael Jackson's PYT, which I almost kind of forgot how to synth part, but of course it did. Like when you listen to it, it's like, oh yeah, how did I forget that? Like I think Thriller, I don't even think synthesizer. I think like the guitar part, but no, like the entire opening, the entire everything is all synthesized. If you have any interest at all in 80s music or even just a strange curiosity for music producing, and these are things I didn't even have up until I saw this guy, but like, if you're just looking for something off the wall to watch, check out Dr. Mix, because he's definitely got a good channel going on over there.
I love that stuff. And I love that you're watching that stuff. I was watching something the other day. It was, I would love to give him a plug. Can't remember where I saw it, but he was complaining about what killed the music business, what killed the rock business. And, it's dying. It really is. I mean, no rock bands are making number one hits anymore. The kids aren't really that into it. I saw kids at NAMM. NAMM is a rock show, but there's plenty of stuff at NAMM for, the brass bands and the jazz bands but rock is definitely on its way out. And it's kind of crazy that we're actually getting to see it end. But the thing that, to me, that's kind of weird is the world of music got so commercialized and compressed by the 90s and 2000s that we're at a point now where when you hear drum tracks or you hear certain kinds of production, it's because the sound is so boring and bland and it's the same thing over and over. It's been used commercially for so long that everything is just kind of cranked out sounding the same. And you can actually listen to songs sometimes and go, oh, I know that drum beat. I can download it on this website. Or you can listen to what was that? Sophie B. Hawkins, remember? Damn, I Wish I Was Your Lover. That drum track that you listen to in the background is the same John Bonham drum track from one of the Led Zeppelin songs. Somebody just took it and reused it. It's like we started to move into this copy-paste music-making mode really about 20 years ago. And now it's starting to really sink in with the kids. I don't know how much of that I thought I got out. Dogs dipping my toes. So I'm pretty sure I'm bleeding now. But yeah, the music's changing, man. Everything's just changing. That's just the way it goes.
So that's what I've been up to, man. Any mailbag? Anything wrapping up from the last show?
Yeah, we got some mailbag from Sister Michelle. You know what? You got to look at this email. She sent 2. Look at this email.
That looks like somebody that spent a lot of time crafting an email.
This is like she put a keyboard down and let a chicken walk all over it and peck a couple.
What's on her mind?
I'm going to take both these emails and summarize them with ChatGPT real fast. Hold on a second. Because I did it.
You're going to break ChatGPT.
Here we go. All right. Sister Michelle enjoyed the Netflix Daredevil series and Charlie Cox's portrayal, but is both excited and skeptical about the new Born Again series living up to the original. So she's talking about everything that's been
reboot.
Yeah, everything that's been coming out about the new Daredevil series. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm even more excited after seeing him in Echo. Like, they're teasing us so much with this character that it's like, they're making me really fall in love with this Daredevil character. And I know they're kind of out of control over at Marvel, trying to figure out how to get their stories together. Somehow, with this character, the more they tease me, the more I'm like, give me more. I like it. But you gotta have a payoff. Eventually, Daredevil better come back, and it better be good. So if he's in that world that he was just reintroduced in with Echo, well, a lot of people are excited about that. They're talking about that. So that's what Michelle is talking about.
Gotcha. Yeah, I still haven't watched Echo yet. I know there's only 5 episodes, but I've been obsessed with Pepper People and Dr. Mix. I don't got time for Echo.
She says she hopes they integrate the blip into the storyline. Nah, not me. I'm done with that damn blip.
Walking away from that, right?
I don't want any more blip. She'd love to see some of the other Netflix Marvel series like Jessica Jones and Luke Cage rebooted. I don't know. You think those did well enough to get a reboot?
I never watched Jessica Jones. I watched like maybe 2 episodes, I guess, but I never got hooked on it. But I really did like both seasons of Luke Cage.
I think you got to look at where we are now versus where we were then. You know, one thing really took off. People really stuck with Daredevil. The other people were lukewarm with. Why should they go bring them back if we didn't love them then? You know, to me, I think they should reboot all of those other characters. The only ones we're sticking with is this Charlie Cox guy. I hated that guy that played Froggy Nelson.
Yeah, that was the guy from The Mighty Ducks.
His acting was so bad.
It was not great.
So don't bring him back. And then the redhead from True Blood, I thought she was bad too. So I was like,
oh, I forgot about her.
And they had a woman play Elektra. She was pretty cool, but she was not really that fun to watch. Nobody really works for me on that show, but fucking Daredevil. I like that this last bullet for the summary here is Michelle also recently saw an episode of Black Mirror.
I never have. I got some feedback here from Jenna, my wife, regarding the mall episode. She let me know that I forgot to mention one of the weird stores. I was given my list of weird stores, such as the store with the boxing ring in the middle and the morgue. There's also a store that used to be a jewelry store. I know because I've bought jewelry there for my wife. This is now a store that sells pistol crossbows and samurai swords. So for all your samurai sword needs, head over to the Berkshire Mall.
What kind of crossbows?
Pistol crossbows.
Pistol? What's that?
Looked like it was a handheld crossbow, like a little easily concealable crossbow.
Like they had in the G.I. Joe toys. Didn't Scarlett? She had one of them.
Yes.
I always thought that was cool as hell. They make them in real life?
Well, you can buy it over at the old jewelry store.
Get 2 pistol crossbows, get 1 samurai sword free.
Again, how does this store stay open?
What kind of specials do they have to bring, more people in? Come in, Saturday only. Learn how to train a hawk. You hear him in the back with the anvil. Ding, ding, ding.
I don't think he's smithing in the back room now.
I'm just picturing a full Renaissance guy. Yeah, it'll be there for about a week. Maybe 2.
Yeah, I guess, man. I guess. Bad news, we'll find out. I have to return one of the shirts I bought at Boscov, so I have to go back to the mall this weekend, so return to the mall too. So that's an adventure for this weekend. Ah, shit. So that's all I got to talk about, man. Just really, what am I watching? That's all I've been doing lately is watching stuff. You got any news to get into?
Well, I got to fuck uppery based on last week's news. I read this on the plane. I went, son of a bitch. So remember how happy I was that Oliver Stone said that the Barbie movie sucked?
Yeah.
And I was like, finally, somebody agrees. This movie was just awful. Well, it turns out he said that months before the movie even came out. And when I read you that article, it had just kind of resurfaced and went viral. So as I was reading the summary that AI made, I even remember on air going, when it comes out, wait a minute. Oh, I think we screwed this one up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we edited that out.
Everybody screwed that up. So it was an old thing that he said coming back to haunt him. But at that point, he hadn't seen the movie. But now he's seen the movie.
Oh.
Now he's seen it. He likes it.
He likes it.
He likes it.
You're still an island.
Man, I'm the only one out there who did not like Barbie. This is my new Titanic. I didn't like Titanic either. I was like, I don't want to see it. I don't even want to go near it. I don't like it. It's the greatest movie in the world, Bill. You got to go see Titanic. Nope, I won't.
No, I was that way back in 97. I refused to go see it. I have since seen it. It's not a terrible movie, but I wasn't one of those people that saw it in the theater 10 times. I was very counter Titanic when it came out. So I was probably in your boat.
Hey, well done. So here's another thing we talked about last week, the George Carlin AI routine.
Yes. I sent this to you like maybe the next day after we recorded.
All right. If you guys didn't check out that last week's episode, you can hear the AI routine. Is it still online? Let me read you this article. All right. George Carlin estate sues creator of AI generated comedy special in key lawsuit over stars' likenesses. Right. So we were listening to this last week, this guy who did the impression of George Carlin. And then he went to the software and said, I want to be able to type in some words and have it sound like this impression of George. He was actually on that same recording. Scott and I heard it. I don't even think it made the show. But there was a good 2 minutes of the guy saying, listen, please understand that I am not George Carlin. This is a fake version. This is my impression. He was saying it over and over and over and over.
He was so overly trying not to get sued. He was so trying to be so anti-litigious. Like, hey, listen, guys, this is a computer software. I'm a computer program. I'm using a voice of an imitation. This is not George Carlin.
Well, didn't help at all. It's getting sued.
Did not.
Getting sued. George Carlin's estate is suing the creators of an AI-generated comedy special that uses Carlin's voice in comedy style without permission. The special was released on YouTube by the Dudesy podcast hosts. The lawsuit alleges the creators fed 5 decades of Carlin's stand-up material into AI systems to train it to mimic his voice and comedy style. This constituted unauthorized copying of his copyrighted work. The complaint also alleges violations of right of publicity laws by using Carlin's name, likeness, and voice without permission for promotional purposes and to boost the creator's own profiles. Now, I'm going to pause there, because can't you do parodies of anybody?
But this isn't a parody. This isn't making fun of George Carlin. This is plagiarism.
Emulate versus parody. Yeah, I guess. I guess there is a difference there. But.
And also, can I say, fucking podcasters, man, where do they get off?
There are currently no federal laws governing use of AI to mimic someone's voice or likeness without consent. A new bipartisan House bill seeks to address this by granting individuals exclusive rights over use of their image, voice, and likeness.
I could see politicians caring about this. You can use their name and likeness and voice to make them say all kinds of shit.
The lawsuit argues the special has no creative value without its claimed connection to Carlin and could deter audiences unfamiliar with him from engaging with his actual work. I thought that too. It's so bad and unfunny that some young kid who goes Googling George Carlin accidentally finds the AI thing and says, this is what my dad tells me is brilliant.
Dude, let me tell you about unfunny comedy. I went to a live comedy show last night.
Who was it?
It was some of the most awkward shit I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, it's like the jokes you cut out from this show.
So let me rephrase that. I didn't go to a comedy show last night. I went to a cigar lounge last night with my buddy Dan. It was his birthday. Just went out to have a smoke, shoot the shit, catch up. And they had open mic night. And honestly, the balls on these guys to think they could get up and be funny, it was bad. The one guy was like, okay, hey, he was trying to do some crowdsourcing. He wants somebody to give me an idea, something I could talk about. And somebody yells, 9/11. And instead of laughing it off, the dumb fuck tried to riff on 9/11 for a comedy special. I was like, oh my God. So he was up there for 5 minutes. He sat down. If you love awkwardness, it was some of the most delicious, awkward energy you could feel in a room. It was just saturating the entire place. Because it's just a bunch of people that just want to smoke cigars, have a drink, shoot the shit. They don't want any of this going on. Nobody wants them there. One guy got up, did a 7-minute set, bombed, sat down, let somebody else go, and thought, hey, I'm going to get up and try that again. Something like getting kicked in the nuts, but then to sit down and get up and say, hey, why don't you kick the other one too? It was a fucking sight to behold.
Wow, this sounds extraordinary. I would love every second of this. Give me a front row seat, a big old box of popcorn, and let me watch people just drown on stage.
It was great to behold from an awkward people watching type situation, but for a comedy show, it was bad. So I bring this up because, George Carlin's estate might be onto something. I mean, good comedic timing and delivery and pacing and voice and everything else that goes with it. It's not just getting up there and telling jokes or saying controversial things. It's connecting with people with relatable things and making people laugh. And I get that. That's not what I saw at all last night at the cigar lounge.
Yeah, PTSD from it.
Actually, as I was walking out of the cigar lounge, I said to my buddy, yeah, this is why podcasts are good. You don't get the instant feedback of nobody giving a fuck what you're saying.
It's true.
I like the distance between the audience and the performer.
You just hit stop recording, you smack your hands together, you go, nailed it again.
Killed it.
10 out of 10.
Killed it. Actually, we usually hang up and go, boy, that kind of sucked. And it all comes together in the edit.
Yeah, I say, I hope you can save it in that, and then goodbye. All right, let me move on. This one, oh man, I'm still trying to wrap my head around what's going on here. Alec Baldwin pleads not guilty to a new charge in fatal shooting on Rust film set.
Yeah.
So actor Alec Baldwin was indicted earlier this month on a charge of with this month being, today is February 1st, so this month being January, on the charge of involuntary manslaughter in the fatal shooting of cinematographer Helena, wow, that's a neat name, Helena Hutchins, on the set of the film Rust. Baldwin entered a not guilty plea nearly a year after similar charges against him were initially dropped while the investigation continued. So now they're like, hey man, we dropped it, but we're back. We're back thinking you had something to do with it. A independent analysis conducted Baldwin would have had to pull the trigger for the gun to fire the live round that killed Hutchins, but Baldwin denies pulling the trigger. All right. I know a little about handguns. They can't just go off.
Right.
The way they're made, maybe there's handguns out there that are different than the ones I know and the ones I own, but they can't go off. They can't just pop themselves. The hammer can't go back in a gust of wind and go, ooh, accidentally went off. It's just, and the inside of the gun will block that from, it just can't go off.
Right.
So he can't say he didn't pull the trigger. But also, I don't know how these prop guns work.
Right. So Jenna brought up a good point to me about this story. Why, in this day and age, would we even need a gun? Fake or not, blanks or not, prop or not. Why, with CGI the way it is, would you even have to have something that you can cock and pull a trigger for? Can't we do CGI for good?
Couldn't agree more. Dude, look at the Batman it's either Batman versus Superman or it's one of the Batman ones where Batman...
Oh, with the muzzle blast?
Yeah. Batman's running around. It's one of those dream sequence ones where Batman is holding a machine gun, and you can actually see that they CGI'd in the muzzle blast backwards because they just fucked up. But yeah, that's case in point. Like, you don't need to do anything with any kind of real or fake ammunition.
Like, why even put anyone in a position for... I mean, it's happened enough times now that this isn't needed.
Yeah. I don't get it. So the armorer, they're saying, brought live ammunition to the set for some reason. You know, did she have bad intent in mind, or was she just an idiot? Did she just fumble her fake bullets with the real bullets in a night of drinking? Like, who knows what happened here?
The whole thing's nuts. And see, I thought they were suing Alec Baldwin not as necessarily the guy that pulled the trigger, but as a producer on a movie where this was allowed to happen. I thought that's how they were coming after him. But it sounds like they're really coming after him because he did pull the trigger.
Prosecutors allege Baldwin was negligent and showed indifference for safety in his dual role as actor holding the gun that fired, as well as producer responsible for set safety. So there you go. It's both.
Okay. So it's a little bit of both. Okay.
I don't know. Part of me's going, I mean, I'm assuming this guy's innocent. I don't think, I just call me crazy. I just don't think Alec Baldwin was like, this is the day I'm going to kill somebody. Like, I'm sure he didn't mean to do it, but
I agree.
Imagine what he's going through. Oh my God, I
Sure.
just killed somebody.
Can you imagine?
Everybody I've killed deserved it. Masters of the Universe, Revolution executive producer tries to win back fans by promising Netflix sequel series will prominently feature He-Man. Do you know what's going on here?
Yeah, I do. I listen to his podcast.
Oh, continue, sir.
Oh, that's it. I listen to his podcast. I mean,
Well, who?
I enjoy Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith.
Right.
Isn't this a Kevin Smith piece?
It is. It is. I wanted you to elaborate on what he's saying because I haven't heard his side of it as much.
Yeah, just more. There's going to be more Masters of the Universe. He's going to be more true to the original subject matter and the original cartoon. I don't know. Honestly, God, the sound quality when he records from home on his podcast is damn near unlistenable. So I fast forward through it a lot. What's the rest of the story, Seb?
Ted Biaselli, executive producer of the Netflix series Masters of the Universe Revolution, claimed the show will explore what it means to be He-Man and feature the character prominently. This seems to be an attempt to win back fans after the previous series Revelations was criticized for sidelining He-Man in favor of other characters.
Yeah.
However, the article is skeptical about Biaselli's claim, given the show creator's history of deception about the plot and focus of Revelation. So I guess the last one, I didn't watch it, but I guess it was about Teela. I guess everybody was like, all right, yeah, we're tuning in to see He-Man. And they're like, guess what? It's not about He-Man. It's about Teela. You
There
boys
was like
will love
Teela
it.
and Man at Arms, and yeah, it was like a whole other. It's everybody but He-Man. But now they're saying they're going to go back and be more true to Prince Adam and He-Man. If it's to be believed, who knows?
So what did they do it for? And we're talking about Kevin Smith being the showrunner.
Yeah.
First thing I think is that was during the time of wokeness. Everybody gets a chance to take a run at it as a female. So maybe this came out at that time. And again, there's just the boys were like, I don't relate to this. I'm disappointed. And of course, disappointed boys go online and become disappointed crybabies and scream and cry like crazy. So maybe now they're saying, we are so sorry we made you guys cry. Please come back. We need them. We need the revenue. You need to watch this thing.
I don't know. I mean, I the reasoning behind it, I don't know. I think he just wanted to tell, we talked before, maybe last show, maybe the show before, how I think it's funny if you can take, not funny, but interesting, if you can take a world of characters that's well known and show it from a different character's perspective. Maybe he agreed and he was trying something like that with Teela. The fact that it's a female, I don't know that it mattered.
I didn't watch it because I knew He-Man wasn't in it. I did I remember it coming out. Yeah, I'm like, I don't care. If He-Man's not in it, he's the only one I care about. I do, now that we're talking about this, I do remember a little bit of that backlash because it came out and there was no He-Man. And I remember thinking, well, if your main character isn't in it that you like, why would I watch it?
Well, it wasn't called He-Man in the Masters of the Universe. It was called Masters of the Universe. True. To say that you didn't watch it because of that, I mean, it could still be a very entertaining story in that world. You could have still enjoyed it. You just kind of listened to the trolls.
Yeah. Well, I don't give a shit about Teela. Could have been Orko. I'd be like, I'm not watching Orko. I like He-Man. He's the one I grew up on. He's the one that I have ties to.
If I can't tune in and see his rippling pecs, I am not at all interested, sir. Good day. I'm tuning in to see his woolly G-string, thank you.
No, I'm being a little bit facetious, but I remember, now that we're talking about it, I do kind of remember the Teela thing and everybody was pissed off. Yeah. But I'm like, the other side of the coin, they're trying something different. At least they're trying something different.
Skeletor's still there. I mean, I always say that these kind of movies are only as good as the villain, and Skeletor is still there. I think that's fantastic. As a kid, I actually enjoyed the bad guy toys and characters more than I did the good guys. They were more interesting. They were funny. They had great voices. They always had something weird about the toy. Either stank like Skunko, or you had Merman had like the crazy sword, looked like a corn cob. You always had the weird, crazy guys in the villains lineup.
You know what it's like? This is what it's like. This is why I'm upset. Imagine you get home from school, you're all excited, you sit down, you're about to watch He-Man, and fucking She-Ra comes on. That's how this would feel to me if I sat down and I wasn't aware that He-Man was not the prominent player on this show.
I love that you're worked up and you haven't even seen the episodes. This didn't even happen to you. This is just in your head.
I'm going to go online and vent.
This is like when you tuned in to watch Super Mario Brothers and it was Friday and fucking Legend of Zelda came on. I didn't want to see that bullshit.
Well, excuse me, princess.
The old bait and switch.
All right, well, enough fake outrage from me. Let's move into something where there's real outrage. WWE's Vince McMahon resigns amid sexual misconduct lawsuit. This dude is fucked.
You sent me a text message saying, what's up with Vince McMahon? And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
It was all over the TVs at the airport. It was all over every TV at the restaurants. I was like, what did he do?
Yeah, you had to tell me. I had no idea about it.
WWE Executive Chairman Vince McMahon has resigned from the parent board of directors of WWE's parent company, TKO Holding Group. Actually, it's TKO Group Holdings. Why the fuck did they twist that on me? Just to fucking chump me right here as I'm reading it to you. His resignation comes a day after former WWE employee Janelle Grant filed a federal lawsuit accusing McMahon and another former executive of serious sexual misconduct. Grant alleges McMahon coerced her into a sexual relationship to get and keep her job, shared pornographic content about her with others, and offered her to a star wrestler for sex. Jeez.
Vince Epstein over here. Jesus Christ.
Guy's a pimp and everything.
Ay, ay, ay.
McMahon continues to deny wrongdoing, but said he resigned out of respect for WWE and TKO. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for you.
He had already temporarily stepped down as CEO last year over misconduct allegations. Oh, man. The lawsuit condemns the alleged misconduct and company's awareness, yet lack of accountability. It's not showing enough accountability. The sentence is bonkers. But yeah, so their response apparently wasn't so great. It seeks unspecified damages and to void Grant's $3 million non-disclosure agreement. McMahon has been the leader and face of WWE for decades, shaping its transformation into a global sports entertainment giant since acquiring it in 1982. And he was a big face. I mean, he was always shown on every episode when I was watching wrestling, and that was a long time ago, but you knew who this fucker was.
Yeah. When I started watching, he was just like a ringside announcer. I think it was like him and Mean Gene Okerlund, Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yeah, I didn't see in the article when this happened. I want to know if it happened before or after Weinstein. I mean,
yeah,
you got to be like, hey, that guy went down. I guess I'm going to go down too eventually. Got to know this is going to come.
I guess, man.
That was one of the things I was talking to some people in Hollywood about all that. And she was telling me, she's like, yeah, we heard all the Weinstein stories forever. She's like, you ever hear this? And she was dropping all these rumors. And I'm like, no. She's like, these are just things we know about these people in Hollywood. And I'm like, well, why do you think it took so long for it to come out? And she's like, at that point in time, there was so few important people who had the power to make you a star.
Oh.
And, you know, it's everything that we know the Weinstein situation was about. She said, but people really did come in and try to, you know, impress these people. And these people got so intoxicated with all the attention that they did disgusting things. And, you know, sometimes the girls did disgusting things and sometimes they didn't do disgusting things, but the men still wouldn't let them go. And those are the cases that became the most prominent out there. But it's just such a sick, that's the business.
Oh, I mean, in the same way, if you wanted to become a wrestler, I mean, Vince McMahon was your Harvey Weinstein. Not many people can make you big in wrestling except for him.
It's just crazy to me that they think it's never going to come out. But
Yeah,
all of Hollywood knew about Weinstein. Of course it's going to come out eventually.
That's the ego and the narcissism and the fucking grandiosity of it all, right?
Bill Cosby almost got away with it. That guy, oof, he must have been so fucking mad. He's like, I just needed fucking 10 more years. Theo. Well, that was really my last story. I'm making sure I don't have any others. Yes, that was really my last story.
All right. Well, I guess that brings this episode to a halt.
All right, let's shut this down. Go ahead.
No, thanks everybody for listening. Bill, well, again, welcome back to the East Coast. Good having you back. Thanks for sharing your tales of the Golden Coast. Everybody, tell a friend. Let's keep growing this thing. It's fun. And thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Fuck you! Fuck you! And fuck you! Who's next?